As a pilot, jumping out of an airplane is probably the most counterintuitive thing I can think of. But for that very reason, I think there's some merit in learning to skydive. And as someone who does skydive and as a pilot, I wanted to talk a bit more about that. But before we get into that, we got really nice weather today and I'm getting really close to 200 jumps. So I'm gonna quickly pack my rig. We're gonna go out to the airport and get a couple of jumps in, and hopefully, sometime today, I'll get 200 jumps. I'm so stoked. That was so good. Yeah, being able to get back in the air after so long is awesome. And we got really good weather today, so I'm gonna make the best of it. I'm gonna warm up. It's winter, so something that I kind of tend to forget is how cold it gets. And then you don't really process the cold until you're back on the ground. And then you realize, oh damn, it is cold. And it is cold. So I'm gonna warm up and yeah, repack, and then we'll go for another load. I think hopefully I can get 2 more today. That'd be really good. My audio, I don't think quite worked. I'm trying to record conversation while jumping, but it's a little hard. Like the audio cable keeps pulling out, free fall and stuff. So hopefully on this one I can get that right. All right, passing through 11,000 feet. Get my gloves on. It's nice and chilly today. Serve handle's good, cutaway's good. Pilot shoot's good. Cool, we're gonna do a fun jump with this dude. Probably just head down, just a little bit of screwing around. Jump number 200. So excited. 300 feet to go, 1 mile. I got a really fancy computer on my wrist, which tells me a whole lot of stuff. Door open! Visor down. He's gonna climb out. Watching the deployment, very nice. $2,800. Do a harness turn here. Okay, open visor. A little bit of a look around while I do my slider. Cool. We'll unstow the brakes, do a test flare, check my altitude. Very nice. Woo! 200! So good. Cool. Deep brakes.
Might end up being a little bit low here. Ooh, 700. Ooh, 600. Here we go, arms up. And the loops. So good.
I'm freezing, absolutely freezing. But it was so good to get 200 jumps. I'm back home now, and I wanted to talk a bit more about why I think you guys could benefit from learning to skydive. Now, I very reluctantly became a skydiver. I was a drop pilot. I needed one exit and one deployment on record. So I very reluctantly signed up to a static line course. I was petrified throughout it, and I absolutely hated it. 7 jumps in, I gave up. It wasn't until I was sort of doing a lot of test flights for guys on their home builds and flying aerobatic airplanes where, you know, you're often putting on a rig, and I started sort of subconsciously thinking that even though I've done a couple of static line jumps, I'm really in no position and really don't have the skill set nor the confidence to actually successfully bail out of an airplane in the event of a structural failure. And so, you know, the thought process started, should I really go conquer my biggest fear and go continue learning to skydive, or should I just, you know, leave it all up to fate? And if the wing breaks off, I mean, if I've got a parachute, if I'm gonna be too scared to leave the airplane at that point, then it's, my fault. But I decided that it was better to go do an AFF, and I did, and was extremely stoked about it. I absolutely loved freefall. It changed the game completely for me. AFF also teaches you about the gear, teaches you how to pack. So I just had this general confidence about everything. I realized how extraordinarily safe skydiving actually is, and very quickly fell in love with it. I believe skydiving truly made me a better pilot. It brings a sense of cognitive clarity, if you will, and it teaches you how to really manage task saturation, and sensory overload is a big component of learning to skydive. And there's just a sense of calmness that I had after overcoming that has transpired into my flying, and it's made me a better IFR pilot. It's made me better at being ahead of the airplane, and I just don't stress nearly as much, and I'm just in those high stress, really tensile environments, I tend to cope better now. And I have complete confidence that when I'm strapping on a personal rig to do some aerobatics or something, that I'll be able to get out, and I'll be able to clear the airplane, and I'll have a safe deployment. And that in itself is pretty much worth it. And a little bonus is that skydiving is an awesome sport, an absolutely awesome sport. And the canopy flying, I think a lot of you would love. It's a completely different way of flying. You've got this sort of soft wing above you, and you interact with it with your body, and it's just a really cool way to fly. But yeah, that's basically the spiel. I believe skydiving makes you a better pilot. I believe it brings a sense of calm within you, teaches you sensory overload, how to manage that. And it's rather fascinating to see how you end up relying on training when that comes down to it. And without the training, you're gonna be kind of screwed. So yeah, that's just my thought process. I thought I'd share it, but I had fun jumping with you guys. And we'll be back really soon with some more New Zealand flying adventures. And in the meantime, stay safe, and I'll see you guys soon.